Men, I have an interesting question for you today. As Christian men, we are called to surrender our lives to Jesus. To surrender to Jesus means to give in, not to give up. We are called to use our strengths, abilities, and opportunities to grow and prosper. We are called to strengthen ourselves, our families, and our communities. We are called to be disciplined, courageous, and honorable. This is Surrendered Strength. Men, welcome back to another episode of the Surrendered Podcast. I'm glad to have you back. You're a Christian man and wanting to do life better. Then this is the podcast for you. This podcast is born from just my experiences and when I have guests on, the goal is to help men walk by faith. As we're called to do. We're called to walk by faith and not by sight. But what does that look like? We've surrendered our life to Jesus. What does that actually look like? And how do we do that on a daily basis, in our daily life, in our daily routine? And what can you do better today? And maybe it's not something more, like the world always tells us. What more can you do? Maybe that's not what you need to do. So, like I said, I have actually a couple interesting questions today, and I want you to really sit in these questions. Before I get into that, if you are struggling, if you have questions of your own, connect with me on Instagram, surrender.strength, and just message me. Just say, what's up? And if you have a question, ask your question. Maybe you just felt encouraged, got something out of this. Great. Please share it if you did. But you can always connect with me on Instagram, surrender.strength. I know I got a lot of people that reach out, and whether they're struggling and just need some prayer, encouragement, whatever, reach out. I am open and available for that if that's something that you need. So, interesting question number one. This comes from a message I heard a few weeks ago, actually, and the messages were the series, the sermons messages. I'm still not sure exactly. Are they sermons if you're Catholic? That's where I grew up. Are they sermons elsewhere, or are they messages? I don't know. But I always grew up calling them sermons because I grew up Catholic, and I don't know if that's a Catholic thing or if that's just a church thing. But I'm going to say sermons because if I say message, it kind of confuses me. So a couple weeks ago, hearing a sermon on heaven, and the question was presented, when do you think you will die? What's your number? What is your number? When do you think you will die? I thought about this for a couple weeks, and somehow, I don't know how, why, but somehow I landed on 80. Obviously, it's a nice even number, probably not going to be the exact age, but I'm thinking if I get through 80 years, that's going to be probably more than enough for me anyway. Maybe God has more in store for me, maybe not. I don't know, but 80 is the number I landed on. So when do you think you will die? Now, as Christians, we don't have to worry about death. We know that as Christians, we're coming back. We are going to live with Christ in the Spirit, in the new heaven, in the new earth that will be brought forth when Christ comes back and after the tribulation, and when God is ready to bring it all back. So we don't have to worry about death. This isn't a, hey, when are you going to die? Because you need to think about death. As Christian men, we already know where we're going. So this isn't a question to make you think about what's going to happen after death. This is a question to help you, or to get you thinking about what you're doing before death. Now, in the sermon, they presented questions of, the next question was, what if it's in a year? What if it's in a month? What if it's in a day? What are you doing with that year, that month, that day? And as I have been going through the book of Romans the other day, I came across the verse in chapter 8, a couple verses that I want to share with you to help us hopefully shift our minds to something greater than maybe what we've been focused on. And again, this comes from my own struggles and challenges of being distracted by the world, being distracted by the flesh, and simply losing focus. There's been so many times where I lose focus, and I'm walking the walk, and then pretty soon I'm not walking the walk. I'm just talking the talk in my Christian life, as I try to surrender every day. There's been times over and over, honestly, I feel like the Israelites, where I'm with God, and then all of a sudden I walk away from God. Done. Don't even realize it happened, but it happened, and here I am. So I want to share with you some verses from Romans chapter 8. And the first one is verse 5. For those who live according to the flesh set their minds on things of the flesh, but those who live according to the flesh set their minds on things of the Spirit. So the question I presented was, is your mind still set on the flesh, on the things of the flesh, or is your mind set on the things of the Spirit? Now, I've had struggles over the past year or so with marriage, finances, and what I realized is I was simply stuck on things of the flesh. And this was causing me so much stress, so much anxiety. It was causing so much chaos in my life because I was focused on the things of the flesh. And in the next line, it really brings out kind of what I was feeling. For to set the mind on the flesh is death, but to set the mind on the Spirit is life and peace. I was living in that death as I continued to, be challenged and be focused on the things of the flesh. When my marriage was struggling, when my wife and I weren't connecting, I was focused on the things of the flesh and wanting, to do the things of the flesh, and when I needed to step back and allow God to do what he was going to do, and allow God to work in my own heart and bring me back to him, because that's ultimately what he was doing. He was, just knocking on my door and saying, hey, I'm here. Where are you? And, God was simply calling me back to him through the struggles within my marriage. And not only marriage, finances, health. Sorry, getting a little glare on my face. That window is getting brighter out. But in all of the struggles, in all of the challenges, God is simply calling me back, calling me to shift my mind and my heart to the things of the spirit instead of the things of the flesh. So, men, again, I ask first, when do you think you're going to die? And what are you going to do from now until then? And is your mind set on things of the flesh or things of the spirit? If it's set on things of the flesh, hey, I get it. I've been there. I would love to say I'm never going to go back there, but I've been down the path long enough to know that it's easy to get distracted. Am I going to completely go back to how I was before I was a Christian or even early as a Christian? No, but we get distracted. So don't beat yourself up, but turn and shift. Shift your mind back to Christ, back to God, back to the things of the Spirit, so you can experience life and peace, the love and joy and abundance that God promises us. Because it's only through the Spirit that we will receive these. It doesn't mean we won't receive abundance in this physical world. It doesn't mean we won't experience or feel the physical love, feel the physical joy. No, that's possible. But we need to focus on the Spirit, focus on the things of the Spirit. And what's really helped me is the original question of when do you think you're going to die? Because it helped me focus, shift my focus onto, hey, my goal is heaven. My goal isn't this world and to get this world or the things of this world. My goal is to be in heaven with God. And not only that, do the best that I can while I'm here on this earth to bring more people and to walk with God every day. And I know I fall short every day, but I strive every day to do better, to simply surrender more and give God control. Allow God to do what He's going to do. Allow God to work in my heart, work in my marriage, work in my finances, work in my health. So, man, I said, it's not, might not be that you need to do more. Maybe you need to do less. Maybe you need to pause more, let go more, give more to God. The Bible says that the yoke of Christ is not, it's not a burden. It's light and easy. So if you are feeling burdened, if you're feeling the stress, the anxiety, the pressure of this life, I'm going to guess your mind has been set on the things of the flesh instead of the things of the spirit. So, man, it's time to turn back. It's time to walk with God again. So, man, I hope this encouraged you. And again, if you're struggling in your walk, if you're struggling in your faith and want to live out your faith and truly walk by the Spirit, walk in faith, you can reach out to me and ask questions. Just share your story if that's what you want to do. Surrender.strength on Instagram. And I would love to have a conversation with you. Love to just share my own experiences and hear yours and help guide you through whatever you're going through. Because I've been challenged in my faith through my body, through my health, through my marriage, through my finances. And I'm not sitting here saying that, all of my challenges, all my struggles are over. No. Like I'm still walking through struggles in my own life, in my marriage, in my finances, in my health. Like they don't go away. It's just a matter of walking with God and allowing God to work in our lives. So, men, again, I encourage you, if you are struggling, need a prayer, have questions, reach out, surrender.strength on Instagram. If not, I would love for you guys to share this if this has been a blessing to help just shift your mind towards the things of the Spirit and to be reminded that we're going to heaven. This isn't the end. And stay tuned for more interesting questions and more stories, more advice on how to walk by faith. God bless. Thanks for listening. Connect with me on Instagram and Facebook at Surrendered Strength. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share, and live the Surrendered Strength Code: discipline, courage, honor.